The Arlington School Board held an informational meeting on Tuesday night to a packed house at LaGrange Middle School, many of whom came to find out, is Arlington going to Section 9 or is it staying in Section 1?
Please consider these kids when making your decision, and remember, Mr. Goddard also stated at the September 10th Board of Education meeting, if we stay in Section 1, we would be just fine.
Well, one of the reasons is Section 1, maybe, and as really said, maybe it's ruled a little bit by some of the Westchester schools.
Arlington School Superintendent Dr. Brendan Lyons gave an impassioned speech in which he recommended that Arlington move to Section 9. He said this was based on his meetings with several people in Section 1, whom he alternately referred to as maddening and dysfunctional at times.
The question for the past 2 months has been, why? I sought to understand just that, why. So I met with officials from both sections and asked a lot of questions. I also explored some of the concerns specific to and expressed by our track and cross-country community. Tonight I would like to provide the board with a summary of my findings. Section 9 officials are excited to have an athletic program of the size and quality of Arlington join their section. They report that their large schools are excited for the competition and looking forward to having Arlington join. I found that overall, Section 9's governance structure, which is comprised of approximately 44 schools, and philosophy were clear and sound. I left the meeting feeling that we would have a voice and that positive change could be brought about quickly and efficiently. In regards to our track concerns, both section officials and committee chairs have been open to changes that would allow for increased entries for track. In fact, they have a committee meeting scheduled to discuss changes for the 14-15 school year. There would still be opportunities for our athletes to compete at the Armory as well as Bowdoin Park. In my meeting with Section 1, Executive Director Jennifer Simmons expressed that they would like to see Arlington stay in Section 1 and that she felt we were a valued member. She answered all of my questions honestly and to the best of her ability. I did, however, leave the meeting with serious concerns. The size and governance structure of Section 1 is quite frankly cumbersome. Despite 4 conferences of approximately 20 schools each, an athletic council, an executive committee, and numerous subcommittees, as the governing structures seem to be a bit of a rubber stamp, and that the real decisions were made at the conference level. I find this to be troubling and frankly dysfunctional. These are my words, but it sounded to me a lot like herding cats. In regarding to our representation on the executive committee, Mrs. Simmons stated that the seat had been vacant for the past 1.5 years and speculated that it may have been because of the fluctuation in superintendents in Dutchess County. I was taken aback by the apparent lack of protocol and seeming indifference to having a vacant seat for that long. It seemed to just go unnoticed this past 1.5 years. Why is this important? When the decision was made to cancel the end of the fall sports season last year due to Superstorm Sandy, not one Dutchess superintendent was consulted or even asked for their opinion. I also inquired about the inconsistency of league alignments from year to year. Apparently around 2009, the section adopted an ability to compete philosophy. As an example, if the AD or superintendent at a school in our base league alignment decided that they are unable to compete with Arlington in boys soccer because their program is on a downswing, they can opt out of their base league alignment. This forces the remaining teams to seek another team to fill out their league, and this can be done on a sport-by-sport basis. So you can imagine the potential resulting nonsensical league configurations and fluctuations each year.
Arlington coach Steve Arnett gave his own impassioned speech in which he talked about opportunities for runners. And in his sport, especially here at Arlington, everybody gets a shot. However, in Section 9, there are limits on the number of participants in certain events.
Opportunity. It's a favorable combination of circumstances, time, and place. A chance to better oneself. This loss of opportunity is a stark contrast for those competing in indoor track and field when contemplating a move from Section 1 to Section 9. The Section 1 program offers opportunities for unlimited entry for all track athletes in every event, while the Section 9 program offers only a limited fare. In Section 9, 17 athletes would be left home if we made this switch. The stated mission of the Arlington Central School District is to empower all students to be self-directed, lifelong learners who willingly contribute to their community and lead passionate, purposeful lives. Do not remove the opportunity of self-empowerment from our student athletes. Do not stifle their youthful passion because of fewer opportunities of competition. Let them find out how far their self-directed determination and work ethic can take them. Stay true to our stated mission. Give our student athletes the chance to determine their limits through opportunity. Frankly, don't turn your backs on our kids.
That was troubling to the board, who did not want to turn back any student or track athlete who could not participate.
We have a backup plan to make sure that all kids who want to participate can.
People need to be able to participate, and I think we want them to. And I guess what I'm nervous about is we don't have a guarantee.
In the end, it came down to a vote.
All those in favor?
Christine Baxter.
Aye.
Jennifer Rocco.
No.
Sean Johnston.
No.
Kelly Lappin.
Yes.
Edward McCormick.
No.
Charles McLeod.
Yes.
James Shuttleworth.
Yes.
Steve Rossi.
No. That's the four, you need 5 for the motion to pass. The motion's been defeated.
Well, it's official now. The resolution has been defeated. Arlington will remain in Section 1. Craig, talk a little bit about what your thoughts initially were. You heard all the discussion. You've seen the proposal from Dave Goddard. What was your thoughts about moving from Section 1 to Section 9?
Yeah, I was in favor of it. With all the things that have been going on with Section 1, with the disorganization, and from a soccer standpoint, especially with all the league realignments, it was really frustrating over the last few years to be put in different leagues with different sized schools. And then also for 2-3 years, we weren't even in the same league with John Jay in Ketchum, who was our local rival. So from that standpoint, it's very disappointing. And it just seems like we're getting bounced around by Section 1. They have really, it doesn't seem like they have any concern for us and where we should be and what our voice is. That's the frustrating part.
I believe in our superintendent. I believe in our athletic director. I believe in the Arlington Central School District. And to come this far, to have all the data presented, to have 95% of your coaches interested in the move, representing 95% of the parents and student athletes who participate in athletics, to have that support for the move and all the reasoning why behind it, to then say no is it's really confusing.
Did you think that the area of concern and discussion focused too much on one sport, and obviously that was track and field and cross country?
Well, it's obviously a concern, and again, it's once again a matter of opinion whether or not that dominated the decision or not. But obviously, it is a concern of people in the district, and the board heard those concerns and felt that it was compelling enough not to make a move, and they're the decision makers, so respect that. There's a process, and we went through the process, and it was a decision that they made.
Steve, there seemed to be a lot of emphasis tonight on one sport. After Dr. Lyons gave his speech and his recommendation, what do you think the mood was with the board and why it focused just on that one particular sport?
Well, that one particular sport, I believe, has 25% of the sports participants in it. It's also one of those sports where if you have a child athlete that doesn't make one of the other teams for whatever reason, they can actually just go onto the track team, and they will be a member of the track team, and they will compete. In addition, it's about the whole school district, and we have to look at everything as the same. Tonight's vote wasn't so much a denial of going to Section 9. It was more about we felt it was premature. I know in my opinion there were a lot of questions that were just unanswered or we just didn't know the answers. So I would much rather wait, hold off maybe a year, than go into something and then find out in 6 months it simply isn't working out.